This is the defendants mentioned here. This is a true copy. Clerk, U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Michigan. There's a few people on here. Number one, D1 is Luqman, Abdullah, a.k.a. Christopher Thomas, Muhammad Abdul Bashir, Basir, Muhammad Abdul Salam, and then it has a few more brothers. So this says, this is an affidavit by Gary Leon. The undersigned complaint being duly sworn state that the following is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. From about 2007 through the present, in Wayne County, in the Eastern District of Michigan, a defendant did commit or did aid and abet others in committing violations of federal law, to wit, conspiracy to violate Section 18, I won't read the sections, title, by receiving and selling goods that the defendant believed were stolen from interstate shipments as a defendant. Now, this is what got him killed. Remember, they said that the guy called him to come over and just move some stuff around. Maybe it was a shipment of computers, I don't know. Okay, but they did get him to do that. Conspiracy to violate by receiving stolen goods the defendant believed were stolen from interstate shipments. Conspiracy to violate mail fraud and furtherance of a scheme to defraud and to obtain by mail the insurance proceeds from the arson of a dwelling as a defendant 1 and 2. Providing firearms or ammunition to a person known to be convicted felon as to defendant 1 and 2. Possession of firearms or ammunition by a convicted felon as a defendant 1, 2, and 10. Possession of body armor by a person convicted of a violent felony as to defendant 1 and tampering with motor vehicles identification numbers with the intent to further the theft of the vehicle. All violations, Title 18, such and such. Gary Leon being duly sworn, depose and state. I won't go into all of this, but I'll stop at the introduction. I'm a special agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I have been so employed for 6 years. I have been assigned to the Detroit Division for approximately 3 years, where I'm assigned to a counterterrorism squad. I am familiar with and have participated in methods of investigation, including but not limited to visual surveillance, general questioning of witnesses, use of search warrants, and authorized use of electronic surveillance, that is wire or oral, grand jury subpoenas, use of informants, and use of cooperating witnesses. I have participated in the investigation which is subject to this affidavit for the last 3 years. I'm part of a team of experienced agents and officers who have been investigating the criminal activities of Luqman, Abdullah, and his followers, who are located in Detroit and in cells throughout the country. Abdullah is Imam of a mosque known as Masjid al-Haq. The Masjid al-Haq was located at a building at 4118 Joy Road in Detroit. However, January 2009, the group was evicted by the city of Detroit for non-payment of property taxes. It has relocated under the same name in a building at 4017 and 4019 Claremont in Detroit. I'll read the brief end. The statements contained in this affidavit are based upon my own investigation as well as upon information provided by the special agents and analysts of the FBI, conversations held with detectives and officers from the Detroit police and law enforcement organizations, information provided by confidential human sources and informants, review by myself and others consistently monitoring conversations, and upon my experience and training as a special agent of the FBI. Because of the limited purpose of this affidavit, I have included only the evidence I believe is necessary to establish probable cause, and the individuals named herein have committed federal crimes, and not every detail known to me regarding the related investigation. So he got that laid out. Investigation has shown Luqman Abdullah, Imam of Masjid, the highly placed leader of a nationwide radical fundamentalist Sunni group consisting primarily of African Americans. First of all, they name it what you are. That's not true. Imam Jamil was as mainstream as you could get. There was no special plan to overthrow the United States government. There was no plan, like they said in this stuff, to establish a state where Islam would, call al-Ummah. They just manufacture stuff. Luqman Abdullah calls his followers to an offensive jihad rather than a defensive jihad. He regularly preaches anti-government and anti-law enforcement rhetoric. Who doesn't? Anybody got sense with the historical information? Source number one is a confidential source who has admitted that he was a follower of Luqman Abdullah, a faithful member of the Ummah, and involved in the criminal activities in the past. A great deal of information provided by S1, source number one, I guess, has been independently corroborated by recent investigation. None of it has been refuted. It's been proven reliable. S1 testified that members of al-Haq were ready to use any means necessary to safeguard the Masjid and its surrounding area. S1 testified that on many occasions he heard Luqman Abdullah preach that Islam should be spread through violent jihad and advocate violence against the government and against law enforcement. He was fiery, but this stuff is not true. In here, they asked him to take $5,000. Oh yeah, here it is. In December 12, 2007, S2 told me he had been with Luqman Abdullah outside the mosque on that date, and he was able to surreptitiously record their conversation. S2 told Abdullah that he asked to donate $5,000 to pay and have someone do something during the 2006 Super Bowl in Detroit. Abdullah said he would not be involved in injuring innocent people for no reason. If there's something to be done, it's going to be legitimate. I will back up on all of this stuff. I'm reading this just so you get a little background on what the Ummah is dealing with. First, look at Imam Jamil. Imam Jamil was engineered by a low-level attack. That's what I call it, a low-level attack. We're just harassing you about a badge and using the car. The badge is legal because his homeboy that was the mayor of the town made him an honorary policeman, whatever it is, auxiliary policeman, right? So he flashed the badge on the police and it's legal. I am an auxiliary policeman down in Lyons County, what are them counties down? That's right. Right? But here's the thing. We have to be honest and on point about this. For our community, that's considered low-level harassment. Look at the difference between what happened to us for decades and what happened to them. Here's the thing. The mission that you're involved in, the lives that you're responsible for, all of that comes first before individual insult. If they insult me one more time, I'm going to do such and such. I know he didn't say that, but that's what people say he said. And that made it able for them to frame him in that case. Luqman, Taskiyah bil Nas, you got purification of Nas. I ain't taking nothing. I don't want nothing extra. I don't want no computers. I don't want no guns. I don't want nothing. You should be aware that the people that head up to me every day, I'm ready to, brother, you man, sure, just keep on waiting. I'll get with you. It's low level. Now, we've done something here, and we have to understand what we've done. We have to demonstrate to people on the block what we've endured, what we've came through. This is a strategic counteroffensive. Everything we're doing now, it's not the first one, but it's the one we're doing now. This is a strategic counteroffensive. We're showing something. Can the Negro plan decades ahead? Can the Negro, remember, when you see the images of a Negro anywhere, he's not a strategic planner and thinker. He might be heroic in some things, but he is not a strategic planner, nor is he a strategic thinker. And forget about implementing these long-range, protracted struggles. See, this is where our community differs. We came into this knowing that this is a protracted struggle, long-range struggle. It doesn't have a number of years on it. Allah knows the years, but you don't. Me and you don't know the number of years. So it's way out in the distance. Now, all the things that we've talked about have generally, 95%, came out to happen. They've generally. But the main things here is we have avoided literally every trap they've laid. Well, we definitely have, or else we'd be trapped. In the meantime, we've counter-trapped them. The whole crew, everybody in it is trapped. Everybody is trapped. They can't do nothing. Everybody in this community, around this community, everybody that's been involved in it is trapped. Double trapped, triple trapped, because of long-range patience. The ability to endure that stuff over and over and over again, so the web is so tight, they can't get out of it. They did it to themselves. So anything they say, about us or our community, we can refute it 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, maybe 50 times. Can the Negro plan decades ahead? Can they visualize that far? We've answered that question. We, us, right here. Does he have the patience? Can he avoid the traps, whole settings, traps of the enemy? Does he have the endurance not to bite at bait? Women, fear, provocation. If you look at a lot of the guys, Siraj got 2 wives or 3, I don't know. Abdul-Alim got 2 wives. Why is everybody into that? Because that's what they're told to do. Challenge the other Negroes, your manhood, the old pimp mentality, and handling girls, dumb niggas. So they all get 2 wives, 3 wives, and then they want me and you to follow them. I looked at them. Now, I know people in Oakland did 15 years of celibacy, so I know that what can happen, right? Because they got a job to do, they got things to do, they don't have time to, you know. Some people are mature like that. They can do it and it's not stressful. Other people, they can't hang like that. That's what Allah gave them, the inability to hang. No, that's because it's so natural. Boys and girls, birds and bees is too natural for you not to, but you got to remember, the hadith say that the heaviest trial left behind for men is women. Okay, now, can the Negro avoid all that